I'm so glad you're back. Or if this is the first time you're seeing me, my name is Tracy. I go by SewSupportive on YouTube and Instagram, and I've been a quilting professional for 13 years and a quilter for more than 30. Yikes, I don't know that I want to admit that. So in the beginning of the video, you actually saw my embroidery machine doing some quilting in the hoop. And I'm going to pull that over right here. So, and I'm going to tell you what the plan is. So here you go. This is an adorable design by Pickle Pie Designs, and it is called Christmas Trees and Stars. And I'll put a link below for you, and I believe you get a 10% discount if you want to purchase this design. And it goes with any embroidery machine. And my plan for this is to test out that AccuQuilt die that I showed you on Monday and see how big it is. So I'm going to make 2 of these panels, and then I am going to cut it out with the die and see, and I'm going to make it for someone as a gift, and I'm probably going to embroider their initial on it, but I'll show you on next Monday what I finally do with this and see how it comes out, since it's a test. we're gonna see how it goes. And what is fun about this is that I know that this is more than big enough. However, I was hoping that I could get 2 panels, and I think I still can if I slide this over. This is a magnetic hoop from Dime, and I can hoop up. What's nice about it is I can hoop up all 3 layers. So the top, the batting, and the backing of the quilt that I'm working on, or in this case, I just honestly did a fat quarter that I had and some batting, because I figured that the inside will have its own layer lining, and so that's my plan for testing it, and hopefully it comes out okay. We'll see, but we're gonna test it. So that's what I'm doing there, and I thought that you might enjoy just watching a little bit of the process. You can do this with any embroidery machine. Well, let me preface that, because you want bigger than a 4-inch hoop, obviously, and you probably want bigger than a 5x7, but if you're working on a small project, you can certainly do it in those size hoops. And there are plenty of companies that do designs. Pickle Pie Designs is one, Kimberbell is one, I believe OESD has designs as well, and you can just search for it on Etsy. There are plenty of people who just do quilting designs, so it's pretty cool. Now, what I love about my Brother Luminaire is that I can actually scan my block in, or my design into the machine, because it's got a camera, and then I can actually set the quilting design to go around whatever my design is if I wanted to, or if it's a block, I can actually put different designs in different blocks and make that work too. So I'm very excited about the prospect of this, and I do plan to show more of it in the future. I know there were lots of comments about asking about that. Some people had the same sewing machine but didn't know how to do the quilting part. You can use any of the larger size hoops to quilt your quilt. Now, I will say that the reason why I bought this particular hoop, I had the choice between this hoop and the Brother magnetic hoop, and I really had a hard time deciding, because, you know, when you're buying a new machine, you get the offer when you're there to get a discount, and it was really, really tempting. But ultimately I decided to get this one because it was half price, honestly. Because the hoops are pretty expensive. So I decided to go with the Dime, and this is the first time using it, and I was really quite pleased. I know that this will work really well for quilts in the future, so I'll show you that as soon as I get to a project that needs to be quilted and that we decide to do it in the hoop. I say we, like you and I get to pick, but you know, ultimately it's going to be my decision. So So I want to thank you all so much for all of your encouragement. It's been so lovely. And I have so many comments that I thought might be helpful. We're going to see how many I can get through today in maybe the next 5 or 10 minutes. So if you are bored and you don't want to listen to comments and the answers that I have to what people asked, you can click away and you can go to one of the other videos or whatever, go on to something else. But I thought that some of these were really important and I thought it would be good to address. So here's one of the ones that I thought was really important. So Amy, she has a really long screen name, so I'm not going to read it, but I'll say, she said, I have fibromyalgia, which is an autoimmune disorder. I started my first quilt when I was in high school. I'm in my 60s now. I was undiagnosed most of my life. So I had to figure out how to cope on my own. I also have projects at different stages depending upon how I feel as to what I can work on. I also knit and crochet. One thing that I do is I buy laser cut quilts so I can sit down and just sew. No thinking, no decisions. I love picking fabrics, planning designs. I rarely follow the patterns because I just start doing what I like in the middle of a quilt. Sewing, quilting, I love it all. And I feel cheated when I do pre-cut kits, but I'm sewing and that's what's important. If I feel really badly, I will clean my sewing room or resort to cleaning up my stash, or if I can hold a rotary cutter, cut up scraps into 2 inches, 2.5 inches, or 5 inches. I love scrappy quilts. My sister comes every few months and helps me catch up on some of my projects, sewing or quilting them, or even helps clean out the closet or a cabinet in my house. It just lifts that weight that I didn't realize I was carrying. I think it's great that we don't have to be ashamed or embarrassed about difficulties that we have anymore. Society has changed. Or do I just not care anymore? Who knows? I wish everyone had a sister like I have, or friends who can support them. I also have a group of friends, not a guild, that is a great support. We get together at least every other week. Sorry for the long comment. I'm glad to follow someone like me who is real about what is happening, that we have no control of. I can't wait to see the whips come out. So fun to have a finish. Now, I absolutely loved this comment. So I actually asked what laser cut projects she buys, because which ones are good? I've bought a few, but I haven't completed them. They're in my, not my UFO, but like my projects to be done someday pile. And what she said was, Jordan Fabrics sells hand-cut kits, but the patterns are limited. Laundry Basket Quilts has some of their patterns available in laser cut kits. I have made several and have 3 more currently in my stash. I've also bought some kits on Etsy. That is more of a risk, but I have been happy with what I have purchased. My sister has been a lifesaver for me all my life. I'm very blessed. She said that last comment because it's so wonderful to have a great sister. I lost my sister in 2017, and I am the youngest of 5, but I only had one sister. And she also sewed, and so she got me, on that level. So that was one of those reasons why I made a comment about having a wonderful sister. And one thing I will say about this comment, which first of all, what a fantastic solution to the problems that I know I've got occasionally, which I just can't cut very well. And the ruler sometimes will slip and then I'm wasting fabric because I can't hold on to the rotary cutter well. And also I do have one laser cut kit that I have started sewing. That was I actually showed it. It was a class, and the edges were burnt, sort of. It's not really burnt, but because the laser cuts the fabric, so it doesn't fray. So it's really, really fantastic. So I think that that's a wonderful solution. All right, so Here's the only other one that's a really long one, and I thought this was really important to discuss. So this one was by Debby. I'll put the name up on the screen. And what they said was, whips can also stand for will it proceed, or when it proceeds. Why are we so hard on ourselves? I have gone through a few rough years. I have fibromyalgia, other muscular challenges due to MVAs, all starting when I was young. We put so much pressure on ourselves. Sewing is my therapy, my joy, my comfort thing. When I start in my overly busy, brain-fogged mind, trying to turn it into a job, the joy slips away. I have a very supportive husband. His hobby is reading really long history books. No one expects him to produce more, monetize his hobby, or even question his spending. He also kayaks in good weather. I'm trying to be gentler on myself. Whips are going to be when I proceed from now on. On days I can't sew or just too much brain fog, I sort scraps, go through old piles of paper, look at my quilting stuff, organize a drawer or two, and even read a book or two. I watch YouTube for inspiration or simple hand stitch projects. It's not a race. I have a friend that worries about how much she has spent and if she will ever get it done. I try to encourage her without making her feel guilty. Some people have collections, stamps, books, jewelry, clothes, toys, and more. I look at my fabric as the same. And if I die before I have used it up, my stuff can go to a new quilter, a charity. It may even be retro by then. My fun money goes to making quilts for kids, friends, and other causes. Thanks for sharing your journey, and be kind to yourself when you are looking at your whips. When I proceed pile. The pile is patient. As an aside, I have finished one top to go into my whip pile and resurrected another, which I finished paper piecing 5 units I needed to proceed to put the blocks together since I watched one of your videos. Thanks for sharing your journey. It's refreshing to watch a video that's not creating FOMO and another project idea that I can add to the pile. Thank you so much for that comment. I couldn't love that comment more. There were so many just gems of wisdom in there that I thought you all could maybe hear and maybe digest a little. And all right, so I'm gonna just rapid fire through a few more. This is from Anne, and she says, thank you for all your tips and honesty. Sewing and knitting isn't a race, it gives us happiness. Just finished the first UFO for my list. I only had half a sock to knit to finish the pair. I wouldn't have started to wrangle my UFOs without your encouragement. Enjoy the journey. Yay, Anne! How fantastic is that? I'm just so glad that you all have been inspired to start your UFOs too. And you know, what's perfect, I think, is sometimes I'm chatty. Well, most of the time I'm super chatty because I did a podcast for a long time. And I know I love to be listening to something while I'm sewing. And so I'm really glad when people tell me that I'm their company in their sewing room now, because that makes me really super happy. Okay, I'm gonna try and get to a few more and then wrap this up for today. So Amy, who commented, that was the first comment, also said, I also have an electric die cutter, so much better for painful days. That's my dream. I wish that I had bought the electric one from AccuQuilt. But at the time that I got this one, it was actually a gift from AccuQuilt many years ago for using in Generation Q magazine. And I wanted the crank because I thought, what if the power goes out? I always think of these things like, or if it's an electric, I've got to be near an outlet, and maybe I don't want to be near an outlet, or make, you know, there were already so many things plugged in my sewing room. So now I kind of wish I had the electric. But that's neither here nor there. It's still fine to crank it. on most days, the electric might be a little better. So if you're considering it and you've got hand issues, the electric is super nice. Okay, so Dawn says, so good to see you, Tracy. I started quilting in 2021 during the pandemic and loved listening to you and Ginger and Lori on your podcast. Several other YouTube creators that I follow have Facebook groups, and it's fun to be able to share projects there and interact with other creators. It does take time and intention from the moderators to keep out bots and spam and keep the group on track. So I'm not sure that's something you want to tackle right now, but so nice to have you back in my listening, viewing rotation, which I just love. Thank you so much, Dawn, and I miss Ginger and Lori so much. I'll actually drop a link in the comments to a conversation that Ginger, Lori, and I had with a few other of our friends. I believe we had Debbie Brown from Debbie Brown Quilts and Teri Lucas from Terrific Creations, where we were all in a Zoom together, and I surprised them with Ginger joining us. And so I'll drop a link to that below in case you want to watch, and in case you used to watch the podcast, and you can get an update from where Ginger is. And it was super fun. So and then the other thing is, so I actually was thinking this morning about I had a SewSupportive Facebook page, but I think I may have shut it down, but I might start it up again. And if that's the case, I might also already have a SewSupportive group. So I'll see what I've got on Facebook. I'm not a big Facebook person, so that's kind of a little bit of a dilemma for me. So I don't know that I would go the Facebook route. However, I might go the Patreon route, or maybe create I'm actually in a group that's on Telegram where you can text each other and you can share photos, and that's kind of fun. And I know Discord is another option, but that's more of like my kids are on Discord all the time, so sometimes I'm on Discord because of them. So we might do something like that. I'm still thinking it through. But the other thing that I just wanted to drop out there, in case anyone is interested, is what do y'all think about doing a live on YouTube where you can interact with me and we can sew together, we can chat. I might show you something new that I'm working on. Sorry about that. I'm going to hit mute on my computer that's here that I forgot to hit mute. But that might be kind of fun. And I certainly love going live. And I can also set up maybe a few different camera angles so I can show you something fun and answer questions. So that's a thought too. I was contemplating maybe even Thursday evening in place of this video, because that could be a little bit easier for my schedule. And if it's evening, does that work for you all, so that people who work can join as well? Just a thought. Drop a comment below and let me know. I also want to thank everyone from the last video who commented and told me where you were from. We got Alaska and Albuquerque, and I want to say Nashville, but I could be incorrect. I could be close to where it was, but I thought that was really kind of cool. All right, so I think we'll probably stop here. Maybe I'll just do 2 more because they're really short. So Hildy said, I have a pile of UFO projects too. So glad you started this channel. You gave me inspiration to finish my pile. Thank you. And I loved that. And so Lena said, hello from Alaska. Enjoy your videos. Can't wait to learn machine piecing my hexies. I have arthritis and can't hand sew as much as I used to. So not this Monday coming up, but the following Monday, I am going to show you all how to do machine piecing hexies. There are multiple ways. I think I've counted 7 different ways that you can do hexagons by machine. However, this way uses the paper, English paper pieced prepared hexies, and it doesn't matter how you've prepared them. If you've got a bag of them somewhere, you can use those. And I will show a few different techniques that I use because I like to glue baste mine, but you can certainly sew baste them as well, and that will work. And you will do it on the machine, and I'll show you exactly how I do it. And what else and I'll probably also show you the Tack It Easy, which is a new product from Australia that I got a few years ago, and it works really, really well. I believe that you can get it from Paper Pieces in Paducah, if I'm not mistaken, because I saw that they were together at market. I could be completely wrong, but I'm kind of making an assumption that they're going to be carrying that product. And that would be great, because then you don't have to worry about the, ordering it from Australia and having to pay some sort of tariff. But I'll show that and how I do that. And so it's kind of nice to have a project like that you can do while you're sitting. You can bring it with you. I'll show you my little tin that I bring with me sometimes if I know I'm going to be sitting somewhere for a while. And I use glue sticks, and I have all of the hexagons ready to go and some papers, and then I just put them together. So that's in 2 weeks. Next week, we are going to do the kite quilt for the first Christmas stocking. I guess technically this is the first Christmas. This is the test Christmas stocking. And then we're going to do the kite one for the first one. And then after that, we'll do the English paper piece one by machine. So that's the plan. And then after that, who knows? Because now I've got to make several more, and they're all going to be different. So that's what's going to happen. So thank you all so much for joining me on this beautiful Thursday. I will see you on Monday per usual, and I just can't wait. So see you then.